Look back over the past with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future. This wisdom from Marcus Aurelius reminds us that patterns and behaviors reveal the truth. If you've ever wondered whether a woman is truly serious about you, pay attention to the signs. Women who aren't emotionally invested will exhibit subtle but telling behaviors. In this video, we'll explore 7 psychological signs that indicate she's not serious about you, inspired by Stoic wisdom and modern psychology. Watch until the end to learn how to recognize these red flags and respond with the confidence and clarity of a true Stoic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. Now, let's dive in. Chapter 1: Lack of dopamine boost. When someone is genuinely interested in you, your presence triggers a surge of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. This rush of dopamine fuels excitement, effort, and enthusiasm, making them eager to see you, talk to you, and prioritize you. However, when that excitement is missing, the signs are usually unmistakable. If she's always too busy, frequently cancels plans at the last minute, or seems to prioritize everyone and everything else over spending time with you, it's a glaring indication that she's not experiencing that emotional high that genuine interest creates. This doesn't mean every cancellation or busy day is a red flag. Life happens. But the pattern is what matters. Genuine interest is reflected in the consistency of her actions. Does she find small ways to stay connected even when her schedule is packed? For example, does she send you a thoughtful text, call just to hear your voice, or reschedule plans promptly when she has to cancel? These small, consistent efforts are a clear sign that she values your presence in her life. On the other hand, if she acts indifferent or treats your time together as an afterthought, the message is just as clear. She might take hours, or even days, to respond to your messages, make vague excuses to avoid meeting up, or fail to follow through on plans altogether. This lack of enthusiasm speaks volumes about her feelings. A woman who truly values you doesn't need constant reminders or prompts to engage. She does so willingly and eagerly. It's important to recognize that effort isn't always grand or dramatic. Genuine interest often manifests in the little things, like her excitement when you share good news or her curiosity about the details of your day. If these moments are absent, or if she seems distracted or uninterested during your conversations, it's a strong indicator that you're not a priority in her life. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, wisely observed, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." This means that it's not her behavior alone that causes you frustration, but rather how you interpret and react to it. If her lack of effort bothers you, it's time to step back and reassess. Are you excusing her indifference by convincing yourself she's just busy or complicated? Are you holding on to hope for signs of deeper interest that never materialize? Instead of making excuses, focus on her actions. Do they align with her words, or is there a noticeable disconnect? A woman who genuinely values you doesn't just say she's interested, she shows it through consistent effort and enthusiasm. She doesn't leave you guessing about where you stand. Her behavior speaks for itself. Ask yourself, does her presence in your life add value, or does it leave you feeling uncertain and overlooked? A relationship should be a source of joy, connection, and mutual effort, not a series of disappointments and excuses. If her actions don't reflect genuine interest, it's better to confront this reality than to invest time and energy in a one-sided connection. A woman who truly cares about you will seek opportunities to spend time with you, not excuses to avoid it. She'll make an effort to bring joy into your life, because being around you brings joy into hers. Don't settle for less than someone who values you as much as you value them. By recognizing the signs of disinterest and acting accordingly, you not only protect your emotional well-being, but also open yourself up to connections that are genuinely fulfilling. Remember, relationships thrive on mutual effort and enthusiasm. If she's not giving you that, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of her priorities. Prioritize yourself by seeking clarity, embracing self-respect, and moving toward relationships that bring you the happiness and balance you deserve. Chapter 2. Ambivalence. Mixed signals are a hallmark of someone who's not serious. One moment she's warm and engaging, showering you with attention and affection. The next, she's cold, distant, or even unresponsive. This inconsistency can be as subtle as delays in responding to your texts or as blatant as showing up only when it's convenient for her. She might seem fully present in one interaction and then completely detached in the next, leaving you constantly guessing where you stand. This pattern of behavior creates a psychological push and pull. On one hand, her moments of warmth and charm can feel deeply validating, encouraging you to invest more. On the other, her sudden shifts to coldness stir feelings of doubt and insecurity. It's a cycle that can be emotionally exhausting and, over time, detrimental to your sense of self-worth. Stoics like Seneca emphasized the value of clarity in all aspects of life, including relationships. He famously said, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." The same principle applies here. If her actions are unpredictable, it's a sign that she's either unsure about you or, worse, indifferent. Indifference is perhaps the most damaging form of ambivalence because it suggests that she doesn't truly value the connection. Pay close attention to patterns. Is she consistently late, canceling plans at the last minute with flimsy or vague excuses? Does she promise to call but conveniently forgets, leaving you to initiate every interaction? These are not just isolated instances, but rather indicators of her emotional detachment. A partner who is serious and emotionally invested offers consistency, not uncertainty. It's also essential to examine how her behavior affects you. Are you constantly second-guessing yourself, wondering if you did something wrong? Do you find yourself overanalyzing her texts or replaying conversations to decode hidden meanings? This is the mental toll of ambivalence, a subtle yet powerful way of keeping you emotionally unbalanced. Remember, a serious relationship is built on mutual effort, not one-sided emotional labor. A committed partner doesn't leave you questioning your value or your place in their life. Instead, they create an environment of stability and reassurance. They show up when they say they will, follow through on their promises, and make you feel secure in their presence. If you notice ambivalence in her behavior, it's crucial to address it directly. Open communication is key, but so is observing her response. Does she acknowledge your concerns and work to improve, or does she dismiss them and continue the same inconsistent behavior? Her willingness to make changes, or lack thereof, will reveal her true intentions. Ultimately, your time and energy are too valuable to be spent on someone who doesn't reciprocate with clarity and commitment. Ambivalence is not a sign of passion or mystery, it's a red flag. A relationship grounded in uncertainty is like a ship adrift at sea, lost and directionless. It's better to chart your own course toward a connection where mutual respect and effort are the foundation. By embracing the Stoic mindset and refusing to settle for ambiguity, you assert your worth and prioritize relationships that bring you peace and stability, not doubt and confusion. Chapter 3. Commitment Phobia. Commitment is a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, and when a woman avoids making future plans or responds vaguely to discussions about long-term commitments, it's a strong indication that she's not emotionally invested. For instance, if you bring up the idea of a weekend getaway or even a casual dinner next week and her response is something like, "Let's see how things go," or she changes the subject entirely, it's a sign she's not envisioning a shared future. This avoidance often reflects deeper emotional hesitations. She might claim to take things slow or insist that she's just going with the flow, but these phrases often mask a reluctance to commit. While some people genuinely need time to process their feelings, A consistent pattern of dodging commitment suggests she's keeping her options open and isn't prioritizing the relationship. A woman who's serious about you will approach future plans with enthusiasm, even if they're small, like trying a new restaurant or attending an event together. These shared experiences signify a willingness to invest in building something together. On the other hand, if she consistently resists making plans, it's a sign that she may not see the relationship as a priority. It's important to recognize that commitment phobia doesn't always mean she's intentionally playing games or being malicious. Fear of commitment can stem from past experiences, emotional wounds, or a general uncertainty about what she wants in life. However, it's not your responsibility to decode her hesitations or convince her to change. Stoic philosophy offers valuable guidance in these situations. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This means that while you can't control her willingness to commit, you can control how you respond to her behavior. Instead of fixating on her uncertainty, focus on your own values and desires. When someone consistently avoids committing to future plans, it creates an imbalance in the relationship. You may find yourself putting in extra effort to accommodate her hesitations, only to feel unappreciated or taken for granted. This dynamic can be emotionally draining, leaving you questioning your worth and the relationship's potential. Imagine this scenario: you suggest planning a trip a few months down the line, and instead of responding with excitement, she hesitates, saying, "I don't like to plan that far ahead." While flexibility is important, this kind of avoidance can indicate that she's unwilling to envision a shared future. Over time, these small instances add up, revealing a larger pattern of emotional disengagement. A woman who genuinely values the relationship will show signs of commitment, even in subtle ways. She might initiate plans, remember important dates, or discuss shared goals. These behaviors reflect her emotional investment and her desire to build a partnership. When these signs are absent, it's crucial to take a step back and assess whether the relationship aligns with your needs. Commitment phobia can also manifest in less obvious ways. She might avoid labeling the relationship, downplay your significance in her life, or express discomfort when you bring up topics like exclusivity or long-term goals. While some initial hesitation is normal, persistent reluctance signals a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. If you find yourself in this situation, communication is key. Approach the topic with honesty and clarity, expressing your feelings without placing blame. For example, you might say, "I've noticed that we don't talk much about future plans, and I'd like to understand how you're feeling about where this relationship is headed." This opens the door for a candid conversation while giving her the opportunity to share her perspective. However, be prepared for the possibility that her feelings may not align with yours. If she admits she's not ready for a commitment or continues to avoid the topic, it's essential to respect her boundaries and make a decision about what's best for your emotional well-being. Stoicism reminds us to prioritize our own growth and values. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means defining what you want in a relationship and acting accordingly. If commitment and shared goals are important to you, don't settle for less. It's also worth considering how her reluctance affects your emotional state. Are you constantly second-guessing yourself or feeling anxious about the relationship's future? These feelings are valid and shouldn't be ignored. A healthy relationship should bring clarity and stability, not confusion and doubt. Ultimately, commitment phobia is a reflection of her own internal struggles, not a measure of your worth. By recognizing the signs and responding with self-respect, you can free yourself from the emotional toll of an unbalanced relationship. A woman who's serious about you will naturally show enthusiasm for building a future together, no matter how modest those plans might be. her willingness to commit reflects her emotional investment and her desire to create a partnership founded on trust and shared goals. When this isn't the case, it's a sign to redirect your energy toward relationships that align with your values. In the end, commitment is about mutual effort and shared vision. By staying true to your principles and recognizing the signs of emotional availability, you can create connections that enrich your life rather than drain it. The wisdom of the Stoics can guide you in navigating these challenges with grace and confidence. Chapter 4: Surface-level conversations. A lack of meaningful conversations can often be a clear sign that someone isn't fully invested in the relationship. When a woman consistently steers conversations towards surface-level topics like the weather, her latest Netflix binge, or her daily routine, it signals a reluctance to dive into the deeper aspects of your connection. While casual small talk is perfectly normal, an ongoing avoidance of topics like your goals, emotions, or values points to a lack of emotional engagement. Deep conversations require vulnerability and a genuine desire to understand each other on a meaningful level. When someone is truly interested in you, they won't be satisfied with just scratching the surface. Instead, they'll ask thoughtful questions about your dreams, challenges, and what motivates you. They'll want to know what drives your decisions, how you've grown from past experiences, and what your aspirations for the future look like. In contrast, someone who avoids these topics might not be emotionally available or see the relationship as something worth investing in deeply. For example, she might deflect personal questions with vague or playful answers or shift the conversation back to neutral, safe topics. If you notice a pattern where every attempt to share something meaningful is met with a change of subject, it's worth considering whether she's holding back intentionally. This lack of depth often indicates an emotional wall. Whether it's due to past experiences, personal insecurities, or a simple lack of interest, the result is the same: she's not inviting you into her inner world. Without this mutual openness, the relationship risks becoming stagnant, with neither party truly understanding or connecting with the other. It's also important to recognize the difference between casual detachment and deliberate emotional avoidance. Some people struggle with vulnerability but still show effort in other ways, like asking questions or expressing interest in your life. However, if she seems entirely uninterested in your thoughts, feelings, or ambitions, it's a red flag that she's not seeing you as a priority. The Stoics remind us of the importance of discernment in our relationships. Seneca's words, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end," offer valuable insight here. If meaningful conversations are consistently absent, it might be time to acknowledge the relationship's limitations and seek a connection where depth is valued. Engaging in deep conversations isn't just about sharing facts or experiences, it's about creating a space where both parties feel safe to be vulnerable. Vulnerability fosters trust, and trust forms the foundation of a strong emotional bond. When she avoids this level of connection, it limits the potential for the relationship to grow. What does this look like in practice? Imagine you try to share something personal, like a struggle you've been facing at work. Instead of responding with empathy or curiosity, she might give a generic response like, "Oh, that sounds tough," and quickly pivot to another topic. Over time, this pattern can leave you feeling unheard, unimportant, and emotionally isolated. In relationships where depth is present, even casual conversations can take on a richer meaning. A woman who's truly interested in you might turn a simple discussion about your favorite book into an exploration of why it resonates with you. She might connect your love for hiking to a deeper appreciation for nature, or ask how your hobbies reflect your values. These moments create a sense of intimacy that strengthens your bond. If this level of curiosity and engagement is missing, it's essential to address the issue. Start by expressing your feelings openly, without placing blame. For instance, you could say, "I feel like our conversations don't often go beyond the surface, and I'd love to connect with you on a deeper level. What do you think?" This approach invites her to share her perspective while also highlighting your desire for more meaningful interactions. However, be prepared for the possibility that she may not feel the same way. If her response indicates a lack of interest in deepening the connection, it's important to respect her feelings and decide whether this aligns with your own relationship goals. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control while accepting what lies beyond our influence. If she's not willing or able to engage in meaningful conversations, it's not a reflection of your worth, but rather a signal that the relationship may not be mutually fulfilling. Instead of trying to force depth where it doesn't naturally exist, focus on finding someone who values the same level of emotional connection that you do. Meaningful conversations are a cornerstone of any strong relationship. They allow both partners to understand, support, and inspire each other in ways that go beyond surface-level interactions. When these conversations are absent, the relationship risks becoming shallow and unsatisfying. By recognizing the importance of emotional depth and seeking it actively, you can build connections that truly enrich your life. In the end, relationships thrive on shared vulnerability and mutual curiosity. When these elements are missing, it's a sign to reevaluate and prioritize your emotional well-being. By embracing the Stoic principle of focusing on what truly matters, you can navigate these challenges with clarity and confidence. Chapter 5. Not introducing you to friends or family. When a woman envisions you as a significant part of her life, integrating you into her social and family circles becomes a natural progression. This inclusion is more than just a formality, it's a way of showing that she values your presence and sees a potential future together. Friends and family are her trusted circle, and introducing you to them signals her intention to deepen the relationship and intertwine your lives. Conversely, when she consistently avoids introducing you to the important people in her life, it's a red flag that she may not be serious about the relationship. This isn't about rushing into things, everyone moves at their own pace. However, a prolonged reluctance to involve you in her world suggests she's keeping you at arm's length. For example, she might decline your suggestions to meet her friends, claiming it's not the right time. Or perhaps she's vague about family gatherings, brushing off the idea of you joining with comments like, "It's just a small thing." Even when the opportunity arises naturally, such as her best friend being nearby, she might dodge the situation entirely. While some women may value privacy or need time to feel secure before introducing a partner, repeated avoidance is often indicative of a deeper issue. If she's truly invested in the relationship, she'll want the people who matter most to her to get to know you, and she'll want to see how you interact with them. This process isn't just about her, it's also about ensuring her world and yours align. When someone is serious about a relationship, integrating their partner into their social and family circles serves multiple purposes. It's a way of validating the relationship publicly, seeking feedback from trusted loved ones, and ensuring compatibility between her world and yours. If she's not making these moves, it's worth questioning whether she sees the relationship as something more casual or temporary. As Stoicism teaches, clarity and self-awareness are crucial in navigating such situations. Epictetus wrote, "Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This wisdom is especially relevant here. If she isn't making an effort to include you in her life, it's not a reflection of your worth, but rather an indication of where she stands emotionally. Recognizing this truth allows you to approach the situation with dignity and self-respect. Another aspect to consider is the consistency of her behavior. If she's engaging deeply with you in private, but seems reluctant to bring you into her public life, it creates a disconnect. This inconsistency can lead to feelings of uncertainty and confusion. You may begin to question her intentions or feel like you're being compartmentalized. While it's natural to give her the benefit of the doubt initially, a prolonged pattern of exclusion requires honest reflection. It's important to communicate your feelings openly if this issue arises. Instead of jumping to conclusions, express your observations calmly and ask for her perspective. For example, you might say, "I've noticed we haven't had the chance to meet each other's friends or families yet. Is there a reason you're hesitant?" This approach invites a conversation rather than confrontation, allowing her to explain her stance while also making your expectations clear. At the same time, be prepared to accept her answer, even if it's not what you hoped for. If she admits she's not ready to take that step, it's an opportunity to assess whether her pace aligns with your own. If she avoids the topic or deflects entirely, it's a sign she might not be invested in the relationship as deeply as you are. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of focusing on what you can control. You cannot force someone to include you in their life or change their level of investment. What you can do is maintain your sense of self-worth and set boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. If her reluctance persists, it's worth considering whether the relationship is truly fulfilling your needs. Remember, the decision to introduce a partner to friends and family isn't just about validation, it's also about creating a shared life. When someone is serious about you, they'll naturally want to bridge the gap between their world and yours. They'll invite you to be part of their milestones, celebrations, and everyday moments because they see you as an integral part of their future. If this inclusion isn't happening, don't waste time trying to force a connection where one doesn't naturally exist. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Don't let frustration or disappointment taint your outlook. Instead, focus on maintaining a mindset of self-respect and clarity. Seek a partnership where both parties are equally invested and where mutual efforts to integrate each other's lives are evident. Ultimately, a relationship should feel like a shared journey, not a one-sided effort to gain access to someone's world. If she's not introducing you to her friends or family, it's a clear sign that she might not see the relationship as serious or long-term. By recognizing this and responding with grace, you can redirect your energy toward building connections that honor your values and aspirations. Chapter 6: Lack of curiosity about your life. Interest and curiosity go hand in hand. When someone truly cares about you, they naturally want to dive deeper into your world. They'll ask about your dreams, your struggles, your achievements, and even the mundane moments that make up your day. This curiosity isn't forced, it's a genuine desire to understand you better, to connect on a deeper level. However, when a woman isn't serious about you, this interest is conspicuously absent. Conversations may feel one-sided, with her focusing primarily on herself or avoiding meaningful topics altogether. You might notice that she rarely asks follow-up questions, forgets significant details you shared, or shows little enthusiasm when you talk about things that matter to you. This lack of curiosity is a clear indicator that she's not emotionally invested in the relationship. For example, you might tell her about a promotion you've been working toward, only for her to give a half-hearted "that's great" before changing the subject. Or perhaps you share a story about your family, and she doesn't bother to ask follow-up questions or show interest in learning more about the people closest to you. These moments might seem small, but over time, they paint a picture of someone who isn't truly engaged in your life. A woman who's serious about you will do the opposite. She'll actively listen when you speak, remember details you shared, and follow up later to show she cares. If you mention a challenge at work, she'll check in to see how things turned out. If you share a personal story, she'll ask thoughtful questions to better understand your perspective. This kind of engagement isn't just about politeness, it's a reflection of genuine interest and emotional investment. As a Stoic, it's essential to approach this situation with clarity and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this context, being a good man means recognizing your worth and not settling for a relationship where your interests and experiences are dismissed. If she's not curious about your life, It's not your job to force her interest or convince her of your value. Instead, focus on living authentically and seeking connections with people who naturally appreciate you for who you are. A lack of curiosity doesn't just indicate emotional disinterest, it also undermines the foundation of a healthy relationship. True connections are built on mutual understanding, shared experiences, and a willingness to delve into each other's worlds. When one partner consistently shows disinterest, it creates an imbalance that can lead to frustration and resentment over time. It's also worth considering that this lack of curiosity might be a sign of deeper issues. Perhaps she's unsure about her feelings, distracted by other priorities, or simply not ready for the level of emotional investment you're seeking. Whatever the reason, the result is the same, a relationship that feels stagnant and one-sided. This is where Stoic principles can provide valuable guidance. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If her disinterest becomes apparent, don't take it as a personal failing or a reflection of your worth. Instead, view it as an opportunity to evaluate the relationship objectively. Is this dynamic fulfilling your emotional needs? Does it align with your vision for a meaningful partnership? If the answer is no, it's important to act decisively. Continuing to invest time and energy in a relationship where your interests and experiences are overlooked will only lead to disappointment. Instead, prioritize connections where curiosity and mutual respect are present. Seek out someone who values your story, who listens with intention, and who is eager to learn about the unique aspects of your life. In relationships, as in life, authenticity is key. When you're with someone who genuinely cares about you, their curiosity will feel effortless and natural. They'll want to know what makes you tick, not because they feel obligated, but because they're truly interested in understanding the person you are. This kind of connection is rare and valuable, and it's worth holding out for. Ultimately, a lack of curiosity isn't just a sign of disinterest, it's a missed opportunity for deeper connection. By recognizing this behavior and addressing it with clarity and self-respect, you can free yourself from unfulfilling dynamics and make room for relationships that truly enrich your life. Remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius: the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Keep your thoughts focused on authenticity, self-worth, and the pursuit of meaningful connections, and you'll find the kind of partnership that truly aligns with your values. Chapter 7: Avoiding Emotional Intimacy. Emotional intimacy forms the backbone of any meaningful and committed relationship. It's what transforms a connection from mere companionship to a profound bond built on trust, vulnerability, and shared understanding. When a woman avoids emotional intimacy, she's essentially signaling her unwillingness to establish a deeper connection. This avoidance can manifest in various ways, whether it's through deflecting personal questions, downplaying her own emotions, or steering clear of discussions about the future. For instance, you might notice that every time you try to dive into meaningful conversations about her past, her dreams, or even her fears, she redirects the discussion to surface-level topics. Perhaps she'll laugh off a serious question or quickly change the subject when things become too personal. These aren't random habits, they're deliberate actions that indicate her reluctance to let you into her emotional world. By keeping things light and avoiding depth, she ensures the relationship remains in a safe, superficial space where she doesn't have to make herself vulnerable. This behavior isn't always malicious. It might stem from her own fears or unresolved issues. Perhaps she's been hurt in the past and associates emotional closeness with potential pain. Or maybe she's uncertain about her feelings toward you and avoids intimacy to prevent leading you on. Whatever the reason, the outcome is the same. She's holding you at arm's length and resisting the kind of vulnerability that's essential for a serious relationship. As a Stoic, it's crucial to approach this situation with both clarity and compassion. Epictetus wisely taught, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If you sense that she's unwilling to engage on a deeper level, resist the urge to take it personally or try to force her to open up. Instead, observe her behavior objectively. Is this avoidance a consistent pattern, or is it something situational? Have you made an effort to create a safe space for her to be vulnerable, or are there external factors influencing her reluctance? However, while understanding her perspective is important, it's equally vital to acknowledge your own needs. A relationship devoid of emotional intimacy can leave you feeling unfulfilled, disconnected, and uncertain about your role in her life. If she's consistently unwilling to meet you halfway, despite your patience and efforts to connect, it might be time to step back and reassess whether this relationship aligns with your values and goals. Consider the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this context, being a good manner means respecting yourself enough to seek relationships where emotional intimacy and mutual vulnerability are prioritized. It also means understanding that her avoidance is not a reflection of your worth, but rather an indication of her own emotional state. When faced with a partner who avoids emotional intimacy, your response should be guided by two key principles: acceptance and action. Accept that you cannot force someone to be emotionally available or invested. This acceptance isn't about giving up, it's about freeing yourself from the frustration of trying to change what's beyond your control. From there, take action that prioritizes your emotional well-being. This might mean having an honest conversation with her about your concerns, or even deciding to walk away if her emotional unavailability becomes a barrier to your happiness. A lack of emotional intimacy doesn't just impact the depth of your relationship, it also affects its longevity. Without vulnerability, trust and true connection cannot thrive. If she's unwilling to let you in, the relationship will inevitably stagnate, leaving you both stuck in a cycle of superficial interactions and unmet needs. Ultimately, emotional intimacy requires mutual effort, patience, and a willingness to open up. If she's not ready or willing to take that step, the best thing you can do is honor her boundaries while respecting your own. Focus on building relationships where both partners are equally committed to fostering trust, vulnerability, and emotional closeness. As Epictetus reminds us, he who is not happy with little will not be happy with more. If emotional depth is lacking, no amount of superficial affection or shared experiences will compensate for it. Recognize the signs, trust your instincts, and don't be afraid to seek the kind of connection that truly fulfills you. A woman who's not serious about you will consistently show these psychological signs. By recognizing these behaviors, you can save yourself time and emotional energy, redirecting your efforts toward relationships that align with your values and goals. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose clarity over confusion and authenticity over surface-level connections. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your experiences in the comments below. Stay true to yourself and keep living with the strength and wisdom of a Stoic.